Imagine a new year of college. New ward, new classes, new apartment, new bed, and maybe best of all, maybe worst of all, new roommates. After a few light minutes of breaking the ice with one of your roommates, the topic comes to buying new textbooks. Man, those things are expensive, you say. Yeah, your roommate says, so expensive I had to take out a student loan to pay the whole bill this year. Me too, you say. Money just doesn't seem to come as easily as it used to. Life goes on, but you notice your life going a little bit differently from your roommates. You're taking as many credits as you can, struggling to get the best grades possible, while working a part-time job and living on a top ramen at best diet. As for your roommate, you notice your roommates going to movies on the weekend. You notice your roommates eating out to avoid cooking, purchasing new shoes online, maybe a rock climbing membership, whatever makes them happy. They're sleeping in, skipping class, and taking more student activity classes than academic classes. Sound familiar? Two completely different lifestyles. Two similarly tight financial situations. You're thinking that maybe you should be angry that your roommate's being so irresponsible with money and time. But wait a minute. It doesn't matter what your roommate's doing with their finances as long as you're making your loan payments on time and staying up on top of your finances, right? Wrong. Your roommate and other college students' careless attitudes toward the financial situations have a crippling impact on you and your children. Just one example of this is tuition costs. According to College Board, tuition and fees have risen 54% more than inflation for the past decade. In the same time frame, student loan debt has soared by 275% to nearly $1 trillion. As an economics major, this complementary increase in tuition and student loan dependency comes as no surprise. As more students borrow, there are more demanders of education in the market. The college will then raise prices to meet the demand of students. As a result of raised prices, more and more have to rely on loans and borrowing to foot the bill for college. Should I keep going? Colleges continue to raise tuition costs because of the appearance of more money in the market. This feedback continues as long as students are being handed loans, and your irresponsible roommate is only priming this pump. The longer and longer it takes careless students to pay off their loans, the more borrowing they'll have to do, and the higher the tuition rates will go. I know what you're thinking. We're at Brigham Young University. We have a well-subsidized tuition costs. We're protected from this increase in tuition. What about graduate school? What about your children's college costs? U.S. News estimates that at the rate we're going, an average 4-year degree will cost more than $205,000 in the year 2030. What is our government doing about this? Well, a lot. A lot to promote it. As countless borrowers beg for limits on student loans to be eased in order to provide for higher education costs, government responds by making it easier to obtain student loans and forgiving those who have been careless with their repayments. We must do better than this. We need to stop looking at higher education as a right. Higher education is a privilege, and if someone abuses that privilege, they should lose it. Sound harsh? Think about other borrowing stipulations. For irresponsible car lease borrowers, they lose their cars. For negligent mortgage borrowers, they lose their homes. There's no physical asset behind education besides knowledge, so we must take away student loans from those who cannot pay their student debts in a timely enough manner. Our federal lending programs do not encourage enough responsibility on the part of higher education borrowers. I propose that we need to treat federal loans as we do an academic scholarship. Let me describe this in terms of an academic scholarship here at BYU. In order to keep a BYU academic scholarship, you have to successfully complete a certain amount of credits and perform better than a benchmark grade point average, or else you lose the scholarship. This should be the structure for student loans. If lenders required a transcript each year, ensuring that students are meeting requirements, it would incentivize responsible use of student loan funds. We would no longer be lending to people like your irresponsible roommate, which would decrease the bloated amount of student loan debt in our economy and decrease tuition costs. It is time for our nation to accept the need for personal responsibility in this mounting student loan crisis. It is time to raise the bar by establishing benchmark GPA and credit hour requirements in our student loan programs.